Hi, everybody. I am so thrilled and honored and inspired and delighted to be able to have a conversation today with three extraordinary actors about a really, truly important and beautiful film. I am here with Dominique Fishback and Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya, and the film is Judas and the Black Messiah. This film tells the story of the Black Panther Party in Chicago. It tells the story of Fred Hampton, who's the chairman of the Black Panther Party. It also tells the story of William O'Neill, who was a young man who became an informant to the FBI. So I want to start by just asking, how did this come to be? When did you jump in? How did this film come into your life? Daniel, let's start with you.
I was on a set of a Black Panther reshoot. And then Ryan and Zinzi Kugler just pulled me to the side and was like, "Oh, we're making this film about Chairman Fred Hampton, and Lakeith is in it, and Shaka King is directing, and we love you to play Chairman Fred." I just felt really honest. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just literally on a reshoot. I was just like, some random reshoot. So it was and then I was just like, yeah, that's amazing. And then they sent me the treatment, which is like 2 pages, which is incredible. And then I saw Shaka in New York because I was doing Get Out Press. And so I saw Shaka in New York. Then Get Out Press finished, and the first script I read was Judas. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. Yeah, I'm involved. Yeah, that was how I got involved.
So Lakeith, you were attached before.
I knew Shaka because we had worked on a project together before. It's like a little episode of something we did. And I met him at I think it was like the Critics' Choice Awards or something. Met him and Ryan Coogler in the same space, which is kind of interesting. When I was first getting started in 2014 or something like that. And thought they were pretty cool guys. And when I got a chance to work with Shaka, I was excited. It was just cool for me to see Black people in the business doing it and moving forward and telling stories. And so I always wanted to work with them in some capacity. So this script came around, and I was just really excited at the prospect to be able to help tell a story about the Black Panther Party, who I knew of and loved ever since I was a teenager, what that was about. And so it was a great opportunity. And I assumed I'd be playing Chairman Fred Hampton because I wasn't even looking at the other role. I was like, what? And then Shaka was like, no, I want you to play William O'Neill. So I had to grapple with that for a while. And then felt it'd be a unique challenge for me. And it was.
Wow, that's really, that's so interesting, because the film, always, when it's right, it feels like it was totally meant to be, and each of you was born to play the role you were in. It's just like each of these roles required your unique talents, I really feel, in watching it. Lakeith, you mentioned the team of Black producers, and I wanted to ask the three of you, it occurred to me as I was preparing for this interview that if you guys get nominated, knock on everything, for Best Picture, it would be the first time in history that a film was nominated for Best Picture with all Black producers, which is extraordinary. What was it like to work in an environment that had that dynamic at play?
It was really sweet for me. I mean, I love it. That's why I love working on Atlanta. Everything's just so Black, and it just feels understood in a nuanced way that, working on a lot of other projects really don't have that tint and texture and flavor, that little extra shit that you connect to, that's just deep inside you. And so I'm always glad to see people in the producer capacity, the director capacity, the writer capacity, helping bring these stories to life. Because, those are the things that my family could sit back and watch and appreciate and see our stories unfold. We've seen a lot of the other stories, but to see ours now and people at the helming those and the way that like Charles King did with this movie, it's amazing. That's how I feel about it.
Daniel, how about you? How did it how did it serve the piece to have the team of producers all be Black folks?
I mean, you see how they engage with the family. You know, I think that it was that they weren't the reason why they wanted the family involved was just for principle, as opposed to, oh, we want to use you in this and this. It was just like, yo, we don't feel comfortable telling this story without you involved. You know what I'm saying? And that, like a year before the shoot, they were speaking to the family, reaching out, like, and I think the way that they're involved is a reflection of like them understanding the nuance of Blackness.
How about for you, Dominique?
I think that they valued Black women and our voices. For me and Dominique Thorne, who plays Judy Harmon, every time we brought something to Shaka, he always made room. He always made space. Even in terms of developing Deborah's voice, allowing me to write the poem that she shares.
Which I couldn't believe that you wrote that. That's extraordinary.
Thank you. But it was really like, I said, Shaka, I have thoughts, but I don't want to overstep. And he said, you'll be playing her, you can't overstep, give me your notes. And one of them was about the fact that she mentions poetry and we never hear one. And I think we miss an opportunity. And he says, I think you're right. Do you want to take a shot at that poem? And then I would kind of go around this. I wrote a lot of poems as Deb. That's not in a movie, but in this journal that I carried around. And so I would read some of them to Daniel. I would be like, Charles, do you want to hear my poem? He's like, yeah. So it was really like a warm environment where creativity got to thrive and voices got to thrive, even if they weren't going to be in the movie, but being celebrated and valued.
Well, because it is in the movie. I mean, that's what happens, is you could tell you guys were doing such like courageous, creative, deep dives into the souls of these characters. And so even if we don't hear 17 poems, I feel like 17 poems are in every scene with you and Daniel together. I mean, your whole relationship is poetry. Every time he looks at you, it's like a poem. It's really beautiful.
Just pulling at my heartstrings. I'm romantic over here.
Can we talk a little bit more about character development and character expression? Because you're like, for me, that's where I'm geeking out on how you guys got into these people. And Daniel, can you talk about getting inside Fred's voice, inside his rhythms? I mean, when I saw just the trailer with you giving that speech, Namdi and I were like, what are we watching? What are we watching right now? Like, we're like ready to take up arms in our living room just by watching this trailer. So can you talk a little bit about the process and how you got into that?
So it's a lot that goes into it. It's not, I see how someone moves their hand as part of their accent. I see how they kind of cock their head. Like, you can't have one without the other. It's like a complete, and then go deeper is what they believe and what they think. You know what I'm saying? So before I even started touching dialect in any way, shape, or form, I wanted to understand the mindset and the perspective of that time. I saw this thing where like Chairman Fred does is like he kind of speaks and then he pivots onto another subject so quickly and like effortlessly and will respond to something like that. And I was trying to find, when did he get that spark of the idea? Like, I'm looking at the video and going, when did he have that spark of the idea of when to say that? And usually it's like in the middle of the sentence. And then he said it and then he'll speak about it, but he'll remember it and he'll come back for it. You know what I'm saying? And then that helps the accent. And then just, to be honest, hours. I really love putting in hours.
What else was helpful for you guys in research? Lakeith, I was really struck by how beautifully you portray the two sides of this character, and even like the way you are with the Black Panther Party versus the way you are with the FBI, even down to how you dress differently, with the FBI, which they were such powerful choices in how you were navigating kind of these two parts of yourself. Can you talk a little bit about research for you?
We didn't have very much for William O'Neill. Most of his operations were, done in secret. And he was already deceased by the time the story had come to fruition. The only thing I really had was interview from Eyes on the Prize. I happened to get my hands on a full unedited version of that interview so I can get indications into who he was. When I, initially approached the character, I knew I couldn't approach him in a way that made sense to me if he was just a snitch or just two-dimensional. So I wanted to find the humanity in him and understand why he made the decisions he made, and hopefully be able to shed some nuance into some of that. And I never wanted to approach him in a way that was easy to just write him off as a villain. I thought, when I watched his long version interview on Eyes on the Prize and read some of the court transcripts and some of the secondhand accounts of people that knew him, I saw a veneer of toughness that was necessary for him to navigate, or that he felt was necessary for him to navigate. But I also felt a lot of fear and a lot of decisions being made out of trying to avoid situations that could be hurtful. So I just wanted to incorporate that into the performance as well. And so that's what.
Yeah, I think what all three of you did so brilliantly, and all of the cast really, was take these historic figures that have either so much misunderstanding around them or just lack of information around them and really breathe life into them. I mean, bring them into this moment so fully. And I wonder if you talked about, or if you thought about, how relevant these characters are still today in this moment.
Oh, I don't think we really talked about that on set. We were in Cleveland and we were kind of a bit in a bubble, at least for me. I didn't go out searching for more information. I knew I probably wouldn't be able to handle what the news was giving us. Mm-hmm. So I really stayed with the character. I stayed with my cast. I went internal with it.
Were you guys spending a lot of time together in between scenes or offset? There seems to be such a sense of like you really had built a community.
This is the first job I've ever had that I showed up when I didn't need to work.
Really?
If I got a day off, I've got a day off. I ain't seeing no one. We pulled up on set. All of us just pulled up on set, say cool. Just saying cool to everyone. And I mean, was like, Ashton was doing that scene when he had the shootout. And then we was say cool to everyone. And then we said, and then we kind of, we surprised Algie, right? We kind of went into the makeup truck and surprised Algie. And we moving like robbing him. And he was like, what?
Yo, we were just having so much fun just being loose and being rascals on the set. But, I think it's like a combination of things. We're lucky to have just like cool people to work with who are just like real down to earth, cool individuals. And also like we all cared about the project and cared about each other. We were working for a common goal and you don't always get that. So it was definitely unique. I mean, I haven't really either. I don't think, usually when I'm off, I'm trying to rest. I'm trying to, study or whatever. But on this one, I was like, I got to go see my boys real quick or my girls, So yeah.
Yeah, we went to the movies, we went bowling, roller skating. We did a lot of things together.
Yeah, we went to the movies. I remember that was a good film.
It really comes across because you feel the unity of the party. You feel that the party feels like family. It's so, so powerful, really.
I'm surprised they let me come.
Can't be trusted.
One day there before the shoot, one time Lakeith was rolling around with an FBI hat. An FBI. I was like, this guy is committed.
Yeah, you don't know how hard that was to wear it too. It's so weird. Like
So tell me, what were some of the challenges? What was most challenging for you, Dominique, about stepping into this world? Because I do, I hear how much fun it was and how much joy it was, but I also know just, artist to artist, to pull out the kind of performance that you pulled, it costs something, right? Like there's a level of dedication there. So talk to me a little bit about what some of the challenges were in playing her.
I have a hard time using the word challenge because Mama Okua, formerly known as Deborah Johnson, is like still here with us. And as her, her life. And so when I think of challenge, I think of I can't even call it that, to just spend a little bit of time in her shoes and portraying this love. But I will say the assassination scene fell on the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Chairman. Yeah, so we were filming that bit around that time. And so the energy around the replica apartment was really heavy. For me, I really, from the beginning, I told Shaka, the love is really important to me. And I want to make sure, I want to be a vessel, and that by the end, the sacrificial gesture that she does, I could get there in love. How do I get there? So that's why I really journaled a lot. I watched Daniel a lot. Daniel has a twinkle in his eye. So I was like, Daniel's twinkle. I was really, and then Daniel would be like, what you looking at? What you writing? Oh, nothing, And I really opened myself up to kind of investigate him, so that I could tell this story, as he is the chairman for us. So, and then so by the end, when we had to do that scene, I really felt like something bad was going to happen. So there was a lot going on in that scene. And the fact that Mama Kua, she didn't cry, and that was really important, that when they assassinated Chairman Fred, she didn't cry. So we really wanted to honor
that with you.
Yeah, she shared that with us when we went to Chicago. So before we filmed, we went there and we sat around a table for over 7 hours, and they went around and asked why we all wanted to do this movie.
Wow.
We had to do Daniel and I, along with Chaka and Charles and some other producers.
Wow. So Daniel, in that meeting, what was your answer? Why did you want to do this movie?
I blacked out. Because he went to me first.
Yeah, I was shook.
And then I said, I think they told me, I must have said Daniel. He said, what's your full name? What's your full name? I was like, oh, yeah. I said, oh, yo, we're in the real now. But I spoke my truth. I didn't come to them and say, yo, I'm a guy playing Fred. I'm me. And I'm coming to meet you. And this is me. And this is what I'm about. And this is what it is. And this is who I am. And I think everyone shared that sentiment on the table. It was just like, this is who we are. Yeah, we do this for a living, but this is who we are. And we want to come to you. We're coming to you as us, not as people that's in the industry that's trying to make a film about your family. Do you know what I'm saying? It's and so I don't really remember the specifics. And I just spoke honestly, and I go, this is where I'm at, and this is how I feel, and this is why this speaks to me, and this is my experience in my life.
And what is it? Why do you think this? For me, I always feel like, to some extent, the projects pick me, right? Because there's something that my soul needs to express, or that something I need to be learning or exploring. So why do you think this project came to you, Daniel?
I feel that I agree with what you're saying about your soul is getting. I think there's an element where, in my personal life, I think there's an element where I'd had to let go of a lot of things as a man, a lot of things that were holding me back as a man, and coming to Chairman Fred made me look at that.
And what was most challenging for you in this process?
I think on the 50th anniversary, just that day, I think on a lot of projects, I always kind of don't engage with how it's going to be received out there in the world. I just kind of go, I'm a man telling a story. I'm telling the story. And then that sorts out the world and outside eyes and that. But on that day, you couldn't stop that. You couldn't stop the outside and what it meant culturally. You couldn't stop that. It was just, you just felt it. It just hit you. You just woke up. I don't know, you guys, we just woke up. I was like, whoa, yo. It just felt a different day. Even if you were trying to ignore that it was a day, you just felt differently. And so I think that, and then having to kind of keep doing your job whilst feeling all these things.
Lakeith, for you, what would you say you really gained from taking on this character?
I mean, the biggest thing was to be able to step into some uncomfortable places and be able to challenge what my initial maybe my impulse or what I might think would be the right. It's weird to do because it's almost like playing in a movie. I mean, it is that, like playing in a movie where the hero, like your hero growing up, that you know had a tragic end, and now you're playing the person that had direct hand in that. And that's a difficult thing to do personally, to go to go against that. And it wasn't the entire time. But I went to places I've never went before. And so I was glad that I was able to push myself past my own self, you know, in a sense. And so I was proud of myself for being able to have gone through and broken through that. And I think that was the biggest gift out of everything, just to overcome myself in performance in a way that I never had. And it was even deeper than performance, like in my life, in my own self. If I could play him, there's, you know, I don't know. It's just, it does a lot for me. It's like, you know, you can really surprise yourself what you can do when you have the ambition to do it and you trust yourself and you can just continue to press forward.
You do such a beautiful service to this character. And the title of the film alone is so revolutionary, right? Because even though that language of Black Messiah came from the FBI, you really elevate these revolutionaries to biblical importance. You know, you elevate them to being core to who we are in our understanding of ourselves, even in our faith. It's really so special. What was it like working with Shaka?
It's Shaka for me, just beautifully intelligent and patient, and just open individual. Really allows for the space of collaboration in a nice way. And the biggest thing for me that I love working with Shaka, seeing was just his ability to maintain himself throughout what it must have been an extremely stressful experience. And especially some days it just got, you know, there were really drastic changes that had to happen. And he was just able to carry himself in a nice way. I mean, one time I told him, like, I'm sure you go home and just fuck shit up. I don't know how you're able to, you know, but, you know, that's a really good, like, spiritual and emotional alchemy, just being able to put all that energy in the right place. And he did that very well. For someone who had never made a movie on this scale before, it was amazing and inspiring to see.
Dominique, what was your experience of working with the team, with the director and team of producers?
From the beginning, he was very, Shaka was very collaborative. And one thing that I really loved was, like, if you come with ideas, he didn't agree with them, he would say, well, I don't think that's it, but here's why. And he always gave a here's why. And that to me was like the utmost respect that you could have for an artist, because he's responsible for everything, overseeing a whole project. But then when we come on, we're solely responsible for advocating for these people. So the way in which he made space for us to talk and then say, well, it's not this. And I remember it was we call it the Malcolm scene when Fred and Deb finally, like, kind of get together. And I remember being like, Shaka, I feel like we're missing something. It was like 3 weeks out, and I would give an idea. He said, I don't think it's it. Here's why. And then finally I was like, okay, maybe it's not that, but can you at least give me up until we shoot? Because I really think that. He was like, yeah, I could do that for you. And then we were able to come, like, the day of, like, all of us kind of sitting together and being like, this is what we need to make sure that we see that he's intellectually attracted to her, so it doesn't come off as just physical.
Wow. How about you, Daniel? Talk about working with Shaka.
He was amazing, man. Like he was like, I got the Black Panther reading list from him. You know, I would just ask him something, like, in the beginning of the process, and then he would give it to me, and I'll just go away for a couple months, and then I'll ask him again, and then go away. But he was just like, and then I'd, like, when I had ideas and thoughts about the script, he engaged them in a real way and had an open conversation and a dialogue. I mean, there was one scene that was really tough to shoot that was in the Crown's headquarters. I have this thing where if I don't believe in a line, I can't remember it. Yeah. I just can't. I just shut down. Like, I can't remember. I look crazy because all these black guys got guns. I learn these lines. And I'm sitting there. Everyone wants to go lunch, and I'm like, go. So yeah, ego's involved. Your ego's involved, but you're like, and then in the middle of at lunch, Shaka sat down and go, what's the issue? And I said, yeah, this is that. And we spoke it through and we rewrote the scene, and the scene that's in the film is because of that conversation. That's what kind of person he is. That's what kind of artist. That's what kind of collaborator he is. Do you know what I'm saying? He accepts, and then he figures, and then he finds a solution after that acceptance, and he gives you the space to be honest and go, I'm not feeling it like that. This ain't working or this not working, and then also he's such a calming presence on set because we weren't given a lot of budget. You know what I'm saying? To do what we was doing. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing a lot in the day, and he's just clear. And he knows when to be assertive, and he knows when to just not like create more anxiety to the situation. And that's just like, that's him as a man, though. Do you know what I'm saying? That makes him incredible. That's an incredible personality trait for him to be a director. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I feel like the best directors, as you're describing, are the ones who have clarity of vision. And you can see that in the film. He has such clarity of vision, but stays open, like has the humility, like both the ability to lead you all and say, like, this is what we're doing. I know what we're doing. I feel clear and secure about what we're doing, but challenge me, make it better.
Yeah, you know what it is, Kerry? It's this saying that I know, saying it's like, strong opinions loosely held. That's Shaka. You know what I'm saying? That's who he is. He has strong opinions, and but if someone says something different, he goes, all right, cool, let's go with that. You know what I'm saying? And he feels strongly about that. Yeah. If someone comes with another idea, you know?
Yeah, that takes real confidence, though. Yeah. True confidence, I think. Or faith, or both. Tell me what you guys, when you think about audiences watching this film, what is it that you hope that they're getting out of it?
Well, originally I would think about and I still think about the youth, obviously, but I would say that we weren't taught about the Black Panther Party in school. At least I wasn't. And a lot of times we don't know that we have heroes, and in the ways that we do. And then the other aspect was the fact that they were 19, 20, 21 when they were doing these things. And I really enjoy the personal moments that we get to share in the movie because it allows us to see the human. So maybe they're larger than life on stage, and so we can't seem to let our minds allow us to reach for that ourselves. But when we see them in a quiet moment, we say, oh, he's kind of like me in that way. Kind of like me. Oh, can I be like this? That was originally, and now because people have seen it, and there's a lot of Black women who are resonating to the character in a way, I think because of the quiet love that a lot of times we don't scream it from the mountaintop when we love the people that we love, but we feel it so deeply. And I think that Black women are starting to feel like, oh, the way in which I love my father, the way in which I love my son, the way in which I love my person is being felt. So I'm really happy that they feel seen or heard like that.
Yeah, it's really powerful. One of the things that I think you did so beautifully was, I think as Black women, there is inevitably always attached to our love of Black men in particular. Obviously that's heteronormative, but in that dynamic, there's always fear that you don't get to love a Black man without also embracing fear in the world that we live in. And obviously the man that she loved was facing a different kind of stage. So you were experiencing an enormous amount of fear. But I think that part of what it means to be a Black woman and love a man and love your child is really so universal. And so I just thank you for revealing that part of what love means in our community.
Thank you.
It's so vital to the film. And I think it helped all of us love the chairman. You know, it helped all, like, through you, we were already inspired, but then also to love him in a different way. You know, it was really, really powerful.
Thank you.
How about you, Lakeith? What do you want people to walk away with this film thinking and feeling, knowing?
The themes that are explored and characters like William O'Neill are universal, and they apply on a broad spectrum. And but also, and more importantly, the themes that are inside of Chairman Fred Hampton are universal, and that, you know, those things live inside of us. The fear, the courageousness, the devil, the angel, the doubt, the knowing. So yeah, we just got to always remember that all of that resides inside of us, and we're oftentimes one choice and decision away from being either an O'Neill or Chairman Fred Hampton. So I think it's a nice reminder, the importance of not standing on the fence, even when it comes to just like your spirit and challenging yourself to build it and be better in the fight to move forward. In your own internal struggle, it's like you gotta make a decision. So yeah, I just hope people see that reality in the story. And I'm also very happy that a whole new host of people can be introduced to Chairman Fred Hampton and the Black Panther Party and what they really stood for.
Daniel, how about you? What do you want audiences to think and feel and learn when they walk away at the end of this?
Yeah, for me, I've always felt like this with everything. I just want them to walk away with it. I don't see that as a right. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't see that as a right. You know, there's so many films I've watched. I'm like, yo, you can keep that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't telling no one I've seen it. I ain't thinking about it. I'm not feeling anything about it. It's not even bad. I'm indifferent. I was like, yeah, that happened. I don't even know what the fuck happened. So it's like I kind of feel like I want people to want to walk away, and I don't want to intrude in what they feel and think when they want to walk away. But on this particular one, I do feel like this is support what Lakeith said and Dominique said. Like, it's like the importance of Chairman Fred and the Black Panther Party and what they actually stood for and what they actually did in the community, and like how much incredible love they had for themselves and how much incredible love they had for the Black community. And you see that with the free medical clinic, with the breakfast program feeding kids, with the educating kids, with the Rainbow Coalition, like coming together with people from a different community and people they have conflict with and finding points of interest. That's some genius level like thinking, but then not to compromise your love of Blackness and your love of the Black community. That's when it hits genius level for me. You know what I'm saying? It's like people can pair up and comment, but then they're selling out their own, or they're making compromises that betray their intentions. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't move like that. Chairman Fred didn't move like that. That's incredible. You know what I'm saying? And it's being clear on that. And then how they feel and think about that and what they grow from that, I find that fascinating. I want to see how it grows and support what Dominique said. Like, I'm so fascinated what kids think, you know? Like people under 25, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying if you're 24, you're a kid, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, but like, especially like kids, like young people are going to be watching this, like 15-year-olds are going to be watching this. That's the same age that Chairman Fred was on the FBI watch list. You know what I'm saying? Like 14, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what are they going to grow from that, you know? And that for me is like, the fact that they want to walk away is the biggest blessing, I feel.
Well, walking away with it, we are. This film, honestly, this film has stayed with me in our home. We can't stop talking about it. From me, from Namdi, we are just so deeply grateful that you all stepped into this process and really just gave so much of yourselves and your craft. Like it's evident the hours you talk about, Daniel, like the hours are there. It's clear how hard you worked, but it's just also clear how much you allowed us in a vulnerable, creative, artistic way. So just thank you for giving so much of yourselves to this project. Dominique Fishback and Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield. I'm so grateful to talk to you about this. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want to say before we go? No. All right.
Great. Great. Thank you.
Oh no, I just hope everyone sees this film and I'm again just thank you for all you've given to this project. It is so important and so beautiful.
Thank you so much, Kerry.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice to see you.